Okay. Yeah. So I realized that we need to relook at the macroeconomic determinants of money demand once again. Yeah, but within the context of the scope of of the lecture notes that you were given by the lecturer. So the demand for money is one of the most important, actually, research topic in the field of economics. Most of us are interested in knowing about the demand for money, what impacts, what variables impact the demand for money? What are some of those variables? Yeah, that's the area of interest. What is it that influences the demand for money? Okay, it has really attracted a lot of attention. Yeah. So we can start from the basics, just to remind ourselves of the demand and supply, a few things. So changes in the supply of any good or service or asset will at least change one variable upon which demand of a good or a service depend on. Can see that these variables usually, or that influence demand, they involve or they include the price of the commodity, the price of the related goods, the income of the consumer, the tastes and the preferences, right? The change in tastes and preferences. Those things, they are the ones that influence like the general demand, right? The demand. Hello?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So now, a change in supply of any goods will be expected to change. Okay. Any of these factors influencing demand, most probably the price of the commodity. So the change in supply of money as well can be expected to bring about a change in the value of one or more of the determinants of what? Of demand for money. So when you change one of the determinants, it will lead to the change, like to the total change in demand. For example, we have these factors. We have the interest, we have the real income, and the general level of prices, which is the inflation. So you can put this as your Y. What's this one? Interest rates, Y income, and price levels, which is inflation, right? So the changes in these are the ones that influence the demand for money. Is that clear?
Yes.
Yes. So these are the most important macroeconomic variables that give us the study of the demand for money, especially. They help us. So you can say now, money demand is a function of income, right? Meaning it is influenced by income, by interest, and by what? So it is the interest rate is the same, the rate of return on an asset. That's the interest you get from the return. So the rate of return on an asset and the wealth. So let's say the demand of money is determined by this. It is about how much income you have, about how much return you get from the asset, and how much wealth you have. So these three are the ones that that influence the demand for money, how much money you should be able to hold. Okay, the three of them. Now, since the rate of return, like the return you get on a number of assets will determine the demand for money, right? Then the interest or the rate of return can represent the number of assets. Let the interest represent the number of assets, because the return on a number of assets determines the demand for money, right? So let the nominal interest, the interest rate or the return on the number of assets represent the number of assets. Did you get that one?
Hello? Come again.
Yeah, yes. If the rate of return on a number of assets will determine the demand for money, then we can let the rate of return, okay, to represent the number of assets. So the rate of return represents the opportunity cost of holding money. That is, you see, when you have the money, when you hold the money, there is the cost of holding it. It's called the opportunity cost. The next best alternative that you can use that money for. So if you decide to hold on money, obviously you lose on what? Investment, isn't it? The rate of return is your opportunity cost. Because you can invest that money and into other assets. Now, if you decide to not to invest and just keep the money, holding the money in short, then you lose on that interest. You don't receive that that yield. Okay. So let Y represent, or Y act as a representative of the level of transactions undertaken, or it acts as a proxy variable for the level of transactions undertaken. And then wealth, let it be included as it forms the budget constraint on which the choice of money holding depends on. Remember, when you're deciding to hold money, there is a constraint that is there. You are always constrained, right? You are constrained by from the ordinary normal conversation, consumer theory behavior. That is the cardinal theory. You learn that you are constrained on all the choices that you make. You're constrained by the budget, right? By the income. So this time around, let's say your constraint is the level of wealth that you have. Okay, so you have wealth. You have the rate of return, and and what else do you have as the determinant of income? And the nominal income, isn't it, of wealth, of demand for money. The determinant of the demand for money is influenced by what? By the nominal income, the rate of return on an asset, and the level of wealth. Is that clear? Hello?
Yes, please. Yeah.
Okay. So now you can see that the income and wealth, they are not the same, right? Are they the same? Is income and wealth same?
No.
Yes, they are not the same. But even if they are not the same, wealth is capitalized current, right? And the future income. The capitalized current, both current and future income. But it is not independent of it is not independent by them. They are not the same, right? It's not independent of income, the nominal income. What is the difference, just for the sake of conversation, really? What's the difference between being wealthy and being rich? Are they the same?
There's a thin line between the two.
A thin line is the one that we are looking for.
It's hard to explain. Wealth and the richness.
Yes. Okay, so it's hard to explain. Yeah, so basically, one of the books that I've read so far, not one of the books, the books that I've read so far, they have said that wealth is measured in the number of time, in time, right? There's a time parameter. That is the number of how wealthy you are is determined on the number of days that you can live without working, without doing anything. For example, let me just give this example. If, take for example, you spend how much per month? Let's say you survive on, you can do your basic needs, you can live your life on a 15,000 per month, right? And then your savings in your bank, you have 15,000 times 4. It means that your wealth is 4 months, right? Which means you can sit keeping other variables constant. You can sit for 4 months and survive, live the same way how you were living when you were working. And then when you finish all that money, then you go. You understand, right? You're getting this. So which simply means that it's about how much of the time can you live without waking up, but without changing the level of life that you are living. You get? Not changing the house you live in, not changing anything, just same life, and you're not working. You see, the question is that for how long can you stay? Right? People, others can just stay days, you know, those things whereby just before the month end, people are already in debt. This simply means that should they not work just for 2 months, then there's a struggle. So the idea is how long can you survive? Okay, that's what I read so far. I don't know how true it is, but I read it in almost 3 books. Yeah, I'm not yet sure about the truth thereof. Okay, anyways, that was just for the sake of talking. Now, get this one. Since, remember when we were talking about regression analysis in econometrics, we said that these variables, they should not be related, right? Like the independent variables, the influencing variables should not be related. Do you remember that point? There should be no correlation.
Yes.
Yes. So now observe that income and wealth, there is no clear separation between them. They are not independent of each other. Therefore, what do we do? Because it is usually very difficult to get the data on wealth levels of nations, it's very difficult to get it. We usually drop the wealth part, the wealth variable from the analysis. You get it, right? We just drop it. Let's drop it. Drop one variable. We'll be doing that in Stata, right? Very soon in econometrics. How to drop those variables that do not show the clear separation with the other variables. Now, if money demand is homogeneous, so the degree one in price is homogeneous, meaning same of the degree 1 in price. That is to say, when you double the price levels, that will lead to the doubling of the demand for nominal money balances, right? If you increase the prices, that is, if there is inflation. When we have inflation, just as I indicated in that recording, that conversation under inflation, if you have got higher price levels, what will happen is the demand for money does what? Does increase, isn't it? Because things have become expensive. People want to hold more money so that they can, the hoarding that you're talking about is keeping, like so that you can do those day-to-day transactions. You need money because things have become expensive. Is that clear?
Yes, it is.
So now the demand for money is related as the amount of money that is in supply divided the price level. Okay, that is the demand for money. It shall be a function. It shall be a function of what? Income and the what? The rate of return, the R. Okay, so now this one is a fraction, this side. This one is not. You can still come up with a log linear form. That is to log. You can log the variables, log the y, log the log the y variable and log the x variable. So when you come with a log linear model, remember, you can just log the x variable, because a log linear model simply means that you log not all the variables. You're not logging all the variables. Remember, it's not log to log model form. So you can say the money that is supplied at a time minus the price level at that time shall be equal to AY at a time A, which is the sensor, the elasticity of income at that time minus the elasticity of return at that time, the rate of return. So MP and Y are the logs, right? Are the logs of values for the nominal money supply, price level, and what? And income. Okay. So RT is the nominal interest rate at the time. There is the general interest rate that we have that is ruling at that time. So you can see that the most important parameters of the demand for money function is just the elasticity with respect to the income, right? That is the elasticity, the income elasticity, and the interest rate. Those are the most two important parameters in the demand for money. Okay? Any question? Are we following, or I'm speeding up? Am I speeding up?
No, you're okay.
Okay. Let's look at the stability of money demand function. How stable is the money demand function? Very, very important question to ask ourselves. How stable is it? So comparatively, simple functional form of money demand were in use until the early 1970s. And these appeared to work reasonably well, okay, at explaining the demand for money. A simple one, that's a long time ago, okay? The form seemed to work. It seemed to work. Remember now, this is the linear regression model that we are introducing you to. So you have the beta node, the constant, you have the data on income. This is money demand, right? The one that we are that is being influenced, right? The money demand that is being influenced. At that time, a beta node, the constant, have the values of y variables at the time, okay? And beta 1, which is the coefficient or the elasticity of income, plus this one, the coefficient of interest rate, plus beta 3, and the natural log of MP minus 1, which is a dragged model, a lagged model, sorry, a lagged model, plus the error term, right? It's a lagged variable, this one. This one is a lagged variable. It's another variable that has been introduced when you lag this one, the demand. You lag the demand. That means you subtract 1 from each point, right? There is a demand for money that we have right now. How much is demanded? Then you subtract 1 at each point. That is what this means. Subtract 1 at each. You have a system of variables again. Okay, we'll complement this by the conversation we'll hold very soon in Stata. We're looking at the lag models. Yeah. So lag the model, remove 1, then you have a system like the numbers as well. Then when you regress, this is a multiple regression, right? Remember that this is a multiple regression. You have the error term here. This is the error term, the unexplained disturbance, yeah, or the stochastic variable at that time, or the random error term. Is that clear? Hello? Okay. Now, now, The conventional equation, the function of the demand for money, exhibits no marked instability. In either the short run or the long run, there is no instability. That is according to Goldfield. Now, when you check from 1974, the Goldfield equation over the predicted real money balances, the MY1, when you check that, you will see that there was a problem to the model. So this was the case of what you call the missing money case, and we'll amplify in the next slide. The problem of the missing money. Remember Goldfield, before that time, before the 1974, before 1974, like 1973, somewhere there was no instability. There was no problem, both in the short run and in the long run. But after some time, you had the problem, especially that were ascribed to the prediction of the real money balances. The case of the missing money. How does it work? We see that for any given level of income and interest rate, okay, in the equation, it suggested that we should have more money in circulation than there actually was. The issue of the money multiplier. This is the issue of the money multiplier. Like, check. We said that the money that you release into circulation keeps on increasing with time, right? Remember that conversation of the credit multiplier in under monetary sector in macroecon. So the money that you release into circulation, because of the multiplier effect, it has to increase with passage of time. That is what we have. So for any given level of income and interest rate, the equation suggests this one. It suggests that the circulation of money should always increase. We should have more than what we actually had. Okay. So the question was this unique in the US? Let's see what happened. So the demand for money function we're breaking down not only in the US but also elsewhere, such as the United Kingdom. Examining the broader measure of money. Remember, you can measure money of M1 plus M2 plus M3, right? The money balances, the monetary base can be measured up to somewhere M3, up to M4. You can even reach up to M4. So there was another theory that was postulated by the person had in 1974. It examined the broader measure of money, that is the money 3, like the measurement of money 3. That's where it came in, like the monetary base money 3, which includes all money 1 plus money 2 plus other less liquid, right? Less liquid forms of money. You add them together, you have money 3. Okay. So the money demand equation for M3 were under predicting the amount of money. Like it was under predicting the amount of money. And that led to what was called the breakdown of the demand for money function. The demand for money function broke down, okay? It was no longer holding. There was a problem. We had the problem, the demand for money broke down, okay? Any question? Is there any question?
No question from me.
Okay. We can just add the next 3 minutes and see this. What caused the breakdown of the demand for money? Remember the demand for money that we had at first. We said that money is being influenced by what? By income, right? By income, by interest, by wealth. Now, what led to the breakdown of that equation? So money demand equation broke down in the 1970s because of the greater financial innovation. There was financial innovation, a greater one, of course. The financial innovation was a reaction to the following economic events: the oil shock of the mid-1970s and the resulting high inflation that caused the interest rate to increase. So the interest rate increased, and then there was the oil prices shock, or the oil shock. Okay, then the inflation went up. The inflation went up at that time then. So the opportunity cost of holding money increased. When there was inflation, the interests have gone up, then the opportunity cost of holding money does what? It increases. If you hold money when the interests are up, you remember what we said? If you hold money when the interests are up, you lose out, because you can use that money to invest. You can save that money so that it gains more interest. But if you hold money, then the opportunity cost increases. Yeah. Eventually, then the opportunity cost was so large that it became worthwhile for cash managers to find more efficient ways of holding cash balances. Okay. It resulted into more wealthy in interest-earning assets, the interest-bearing assets. So people, instead of holding cash, they decided to get more of cash that they had and put it in interest-bearing assets. Okay. Now, because for any level of income and interest rate, the demand for money would be reduced, then this explains the missing what? The missing money. Did you got it? I talked about the missing money theory, where like people observe that okay, practically we should have more money. According to Hatch, we should have more money as we keep on what? As we keep on releasing money into circulation. Money should increase. We should have more than what we put in at first. But what was observed is that because of the breakdown of the equation, the equation broke down. It was no longer holding. It started working more like against. So you saw that when the equation was no longer the way how it was previously, then it was against. You put more money, but the money started what? Reducing. You put more money in circulation. We expect people to hold more money, but it's the opposite. People are no longer holding the money. You supply more, but people are holding money in form of the interest-bearing what? Assets. Okay, so the money started reducing at any level of income and interest. The demand for money kept on what? Reducing and reducing. And that's the theory of the missing money. Is that clear? Is that clear?
Yes, please.
Okay.